Looking for me Saturday night. Yeah, exactly. Humble yourself. Yes,
You're under his car.
You work for me Saturday night. I'm still your landlord. Yeah. Don't forget that. I'm still your landlord. Yeah. Exactly.
Career. So yeah, victorious 100%. That's my goal, that's my plan, and that's my motivation. So yeah, looking forward to it. Respect to the team. May the best man win.
In the unpredictable world of modern boxing, where social media fame and elite athleticism now clash in the same ring, nothing seems impossible anymore. Yet even by today's standards, the upcoming fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is something no one could have imagined. A few years ago, on Friday in Miami, the two men finally came face-to-face at their first press conference, a moment that sealed what may be the strangest, boldest, and most talked-about fight of the decade. Set for 19th of December at the Kaseya Center in Miami, the bout will stream live on Netflix, adding even more spectacle to a sport already transformed by influencer culture. 8 rounds, 3 minutes each, 10-0's gloves and knockouts fully allowed. Everything is on the table. And this time, unlike Paul's previous stunts, he isn't fighting a retired legend or a YouTuber-turned-brawler. He is stepping into the ring with a former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, a man who once stood at the top of the most dangerous division in combat sports, Anthony Joshua. The same Joshua who once packed stadiums with 90,000 roaring fans. The same Joshua who dominated the heavyweight division with explosive power and a polished style. And also the same Joshua who is now trying to rebuild his career after a brutal loss to Daniel Dubois just months earlier. For Joshua, this fight is more than a spectacle. It's a lifeline. For Paul, it's the boldest gamble of his chaotic boxing career. And for boxing itself, this showdown forces an uncomfortable but necessary question. What even counts as real boxing anymore? A crossroads for Joshua, redemption or ruin. At 36 years old, Anthony Joshua finds himself in a difficult and unfamiliar position. His September defeat to Daniel Dubois shook the boxing world and tarnished what many hoped would be his return to dominance. Joshua's dream of a massive all-British mega-fight with Tyson Fury still flickers in the background, but it now hangs by a thread. And a loss to Jake Paul could cut that thread completely. That's what makes this December bout so strange. Joshua is a veteran of some of the biggest championship fights of the modern era. Paul, while athletic and improving, entered the sport through viral videos and internet bravado. Yet today, it is Joshua who must convince the world he still belongs at the top. And that pressure was clear during their tense press conference in Miami. Joshua remained calm but purposeful, aware that this event is less about hype and more about reminding fans who he truly is. Still, even with his controlled demeanor, he did drop one major surprise, a revelation that sent shockwaves throughout the boxing community. Joshua announced he would be changing trainers once again. For a fighter who has already cycled through multiple training teams since his loss to Team Usyk, this raised eyebrows everywhere. He explained that he had received permission from his recent coach, Ben Davison, to train with Team Usyk, and that someone from that camp would guide him leading into the Paul fight. It was an unexpected twist. The former heavyweight king now seeking guidance from the very camp that once dethroned him. But perhaps that is exactly why he made the decision. Joshua is clearly searching for something new, something sharper, something that can revive the fire he believes is still inside him. Jake Paul, from YouTube. Pranks to boxing's most controversial disruptor. On the other side stands Jake Paul, a 28-year-old provocateur who has somehow managed to turn internet fame into a legitimate professional boxing career. He walks into this fight with a record of 12-1, including a points victory over Mike Tyson in a controversial spectacle last year. Critics argue that Tyson was 58 years old and far past the point of meaningful competition, but Paul doesn't care. He believes he has earned his place inside real boxing rings. Still, even he knows that Anthony Joshua is a completely different mountain to climb. Paul carried his trademark confidence into the Miami press conference, vowing he would knock out Joshua within 5 rounds. It was a claim that made half the room laugh and the other half wonder if he truly believed it. Paul thrives on chaos. He knows that every bold prediction fuels more headlines, more views, and more attention. And attention is his greatest weapon. But beneath the swagger lies something deeper. Whether fans love him or hate him, Paul has put in the work. He trains relentlessly. He treats the sport seriously. And he genuinely wants respect from a boxing world that sees him as an outsider. Defeating Joshua, or even surviving 8 rounds with him, would give Paul the ultimate validation. It would blur the final line separating traditional boxing from the new age of influencer fighters. And it would force the sport to confront a reality it has long tried to avoid. Boxing is no longer controlled solely by boxing purists. The fans now choose the stars, and Jake Paul is undeniably one of them. When the two men stepped onto the stage together, the atmosphere was electric. Cameras flashed. Reporters scrambled. Fans screamed in disbelief. The contrast between them was almost cinematic. Joshua, taller, heavier, and built like a warrior, standing across from Paul, the disruptor who climbed the fight game through controversy rather than titles. Yet it wasn't just the physical difference that made their encounter so surreal. It was the energy. Joshua remained disciplined, almost detached, as if he were analyzing Paul's demeanor. Paul, meanwhile, played to the crowd, cracking jokes, throwing verbal jabs, and promising to finish Joshua quicker than anyone expects. There was no pushing, no shoving, no chairs thrown, but there was tension. Real tension. Because each man stands to lose something huge. Joshua risks humiliation. Paul risks credibility, and both risk their futures. Why this fight matters, even if it shouldn't. Boxing traditionalists are furious. Fans are divided. Promoters are confused. But no one can deny it. Jake Paul versus Anthony. Joshua is the fight everyone will be watching in December. Joshua sees it as a chance to rebuild his name, regain his confidence, and keep his shot at Tyson Fury alive. Paul sees it as his opportunity to shock the world and finally force the sport's elite to take him seriously. But beyond the fighters, this bout represents something larger, a collision between the old world and the new. It symbolizes the shift in entertainment, where storylines are as powerful as skill, where controversy fuels viewership, and where boxing is becoming global entertainment rather than a niche sport. And that is why Netflix jumped in. That is why millions will tune in. That is why Friday's press conference felt like the beginning of something bizarre, unpredictable, and unforgettable. On 19th of December, the world will find out whether this matchup is a joke, a genius business move, or the moment boxing finally crosses the line it can never return from. One thing is certain, no matter who wins, the sport will never be the same.